at Horizont Swiss today with Yariv Adan from Google. Adan has a very special story to tell us about himself. Yariv, your story.
Thank you and welcome to Google, by the way. So, I've been in Switzerland and Google for the last 15 years, moved from Israel with a family of 4 children. And about 8 years ago, I had a motorcycle accident as I was riding from home to work on the Albispass. As a result, I smashed some nerve in the spinal cords that resulted in a paralyzed right arm. So I can have very limited use of it. But more importantly, a very strong 24/7 chronic pain that never leaves. With the paralyzed hand, I'm actually getting along pretty well. I don't think there is much I can't do. I drive, I ski, I take care of my kids, I cook. I don't feel limited in any way. The pain is an interesting challenge to go through life with. You know, it impacts sleep and so forth. But I made the decision not to let it define me, not to limit me, and to live life as happy as I was before. But it did get me much more aware and involved in the challenges of people with disabilities, and it got me actually to be an active member of that community, trying to make our world a better place in that sense.
Yeah, you just talked now about the role that you have also, that brought you also to a new role at Google. So what can you tell us about this new role position at Google?
So at Google, generally the last 10 years, I've been mostly working on AI, artificial intelligence projects. We actually started the Google Assistant here in Zurich. We also started Google Lens here in Zurich. Over the last year, I moved from working on AI for consumer products to working on AI for Google Cloud companies. But always as I was working in Assistant, I always tried to think, how can we use this technology of ability to understand the world, understand speech, being able to talk, understand vision, in order to use it also for disability purposes. I built a robotic arm. I built different versions of products that help people to manage their life better and change behavior. A lot of people with chronic conditions need to manage sleep, need to manage diet, physical activity. How do you nag people effectively? That was something very interesting. And I was also involved in projects that are targeting some people with disabilities. Yeah, I have a few favorite projects, yeah.
Do you use, I guess you use also some of your products are from Google for yourself?
I use sometimes voice transcription in order to make typing faster and easier using voice. But actually I became very good in swiping with my left thumb. So I'm quite a fat swiper, which again I think is an accessibility feature on the keyboards. I use it one hand, yeah. These are like the most.
Thank you. Yeah, I know the Albispass quite well. I drove over quite hundreds of times because I lived once at the other side of the Albis. You're in Switzerland now for 16 years, I guess. You told us. So what excites you about co-leading a site here in Zurich where so much innovation is going on?
So I think the Zurich site stands out in the diversity of teams and people that work here. Because Switzerland and Zurich is so attractive, we actually have people here from 100 different countries, of course, including great Swiss people, a lot from ETH, of course. And these people, because of the size, we are a few thousand now, they work on all areas of Google. So actually, there is innovation across all products. And that brings a very diversified view, both of problems and challenges, but also on how do you approach it, because people that come from different backgrounds and different products and different histories and different places view the world differently and address the world differently. So it's very interesting to have access to all of that and to see, you know, because you always see it in your own way, and then suddenly there are so many additional prisms, and here there is like 100 more, which is very rare in our world to find that richness. I'm also very fortunate because as site leads, we are focusing on 3 areas. One is community building, so to be part of Google, part of Switzerland, and part of our of each other's world. The second one is diversity and inclusion. And the third one, which I'm responsible for, is innovation. So really to think, how can we foster and make this culture of innovation in Zurich and in EMEA overall? So I get to see a lot of very cool projects and all the cool ideas that come from everywhere. So it's a very rare opportunity to get a front row seat to a lot of cutting edge innovation on product and technology.
What can you tell us about the Disability Alliance?
So Disability Alliance is it started as a grassroots effort at Google, which is supposed to make sure that we have a working environment that takes into consideration also people with disabilities, and also support environment, and very importantly, educating the rest of the organization. Because I personally believe that the most important thing, the most important way that we can push disability forward is to be aware and to educate ourselves. I think in the same way as gender and race, you first need to recognize there is a problem and understand it and discuss it before you can actually solve it. So I think making it clear that for a person with a disability requires some adaptation is the first step to make managers and the company aware. And this is like a key mission is really awareness and education.
Let's talk a bit about, you already mentioned some of the Google tools that help people to manage their life. So maybe some products?
So I think there is first just the baseline that I think Google and other companies as well understood by now that accessibility is very similar to privacy and security. You really need to design and focus on it in every project from the start. Screen readers, fonts, speech API, captions, and so forth. And that's embedded everywhere. But I think what is more exciting is specific products that actually take the next step and really provide solutions that are designed for accessibility. My top favorite project is Euphonia. This is a project that was in collaboration, the speech organization and Google Research. And what they realized is that a lot of the speech models that are being trained actually don't work very well for people with speech disabilities. And a lot of people with ALS that also are in wheelchairs, because they cannot control their vocal cords, they have like distorted speech and they could not use the products. So they created a special project that collected from the community voice samples from people with speech disorders and created a speech model that can actually understand very distorted speech. So, so suddenly people that, are usually not understood can be understood. But then the next step, we use that to make the Google Assistant speak for them. So you say it in your voice, then now it's in a screen. And suddenly now they can control their devices, they can control a smart home, they can communicate with a car. So suddenly using their speech, not only they are more understood, but they can actually connect to the rest of the world and be more independent and capable. So to me, that's a very nice product that is 100% focused on disability, not just making accessibility. Yeah, so that's my favorite example, I think.
Great. So one important question is also how you, because of course if you are an assistant or these assistants, they know exactly what people are doing, their needs, and so what's about the protection of personality, of data security? What you can tell us about this?
So of course, privacy is a key to everything we do, and it's part of the design. And the key principles that we have for privacy is transparency and control. So to make sure that we're responsible custodians and owners of the data, and also to make sure that all the data, how it is collected and used, is transparent to the user, and the user can actually control that. And over time, we went the extra mile. So many of these devices now, the speech model are working on the device, so it never actually leaves the device. So you can get all of the value without the data being sent anywhere. So definitely privacy, like I said, privacy, security, and accessibility are baked into the product in the very early stages. And we make sure that we respect the user. Yeah.
Yariv, last question. Your personal wish for your community for 2023?
I think it's, like I said, that awareness and education will improve. And I personally think that actually disability is a superpower. And I would love people to actually understand that, because we're still treating disability as a negative thing, and how do we allow people? But so I'm pretty old now with 4 kids and a manager, and what I've learned in life is that the most important traits when you get to real problems, whether in professional or personal life, is your ability to adapt, your resilience, and your ability to cope with challenges. And people with disabilities that are living in a world that was designed for normal people actually have super levels of disability. Every day you need to cope, adapt, and find the power and energy within you to deal with whatever you have. And these are actually, again, used in the workplace and in their private life. And I think that's a huge asset for companies to be able to use that. And I think that that's a strong understanding. And I wish that companies will actually understand that disability is actually a superpower. Many times we're confusing normal with better. The only reason maybe normal looks better is because the world is designed for normal. But an eagle cannot run, but that's not a disability. He's the king of the world. So,
disability as a superpower, I think this is really a great wish for 2023. And yeah, many thanks, Yariv, for this talk. And have a good time.
Thank you.